Welcome back to another channel here on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. Excuse the background. I am moving in a couple of days, so the real background is all moving boxes. But this is actually going to be cool for the theme of the video because we find ourselves right now inside of a spaceship. And today we're talking all about Spacecraft Sightings, a guide to the different kinds of sightings that you might have. So in order to get this information, obviously I've had my own experiences as well as channeling the Council for Humanity, which is from the Galactic Federation of Light. So I'm going to just jump right in. Actually, before I jump right in, do I have anything to tell you? I usually have a couple of announcements. I guess an announcement that I have for you is at this moment, what day is it? For me, for you it's Sunday. For me, it's actually Tuesday evening. And at this moment, there are 2 spots left inside of Starseed Weaver of Light, which is a multi-dimensional healing course. It's certified, and this is all about healing with psychic gifts alongside beings like Andromedans, Pleiadians, Lyrans, and Archangels. We're also going to be learning a lot of very advanced techniques inside of this space. And it's going to be like, for instance, soul retrievals, entity removals, light language coding, crystalline DNA activations, system upgrades to your clients, Akashic healing. Like there's a lot included in the curriculum. Basically, we're going beyond, far beyond Reiki or basic healing where you're just like moving, like pouring light in, moving light around or pouring light in. This is so much more advanced than that. And this is for, multidimensional starseed souls that know that they are maybe like a raw channel for healing and are looking to do this in a very intuitive way and not in like a boxed in limited style course with steps that you do. Every single client's the same, like processes that are the same over and over, rinse and repeat kind of thing. This isn't like that at all. This is healing intuitively. This is healing intuitively and spontaneously with each client being so customized and unique, but learning how to do all of these very advanced techniques as well. Okay. So 2 spaces, I mean, that's Tuesday evening. It might have changed by now, but go ahead and check out the link in the description of this video. You can see the curriculum there, and that should be enough to let you know if this is the right course for you. And because it's certified, it also really sets you up as like an advanced practitioner that is able to do all of these kinds of techniques, and that's going to open you up to millions of souls that are looking for practitioners like that. Okay, many star seeds coming into their awakening journey need more than just light. They need all of these advanced techniques plus more. Okay, so we'll leave it at that, and then don't forget to make sure that you are subscribed to this channel for new videos here every week. Let's get into the video now, the video topic. Oh, that's so weird because my earrings are green. Cute little spaceships as well, though. It's treating them like a green screen, I think, and you're just able to see right through me. Okay, so let's talk about Spacecraft Sightings, a guide. So the first thing that I wanted to ask about was, is there any way that we could see a ship accidentally? Or is it always on purpose that they show themselves? And there are some rare exceptions where you would see something maybe that you're not supposed to see, but they definitely did point out that this is not the norm. So a rare instance would be like a cloaking malfunction. They really do have cloaking technology on these 4th dimensional ships that are in our range of sight, and that is like an invisibility thing. And so if there is a cloaking malfunction, that has happened. And when that happens, those are the kind of videos that go very viral. But that could also happen for you personally, right? Like you just stargazing, looking up at the sky, whatever. I've had a couple of instances that I believe are, not necessarily like meant for me to see. It's not a sign from my guides per se. It's just me seeing something passing by that, nobody else saw. Okay, so a cloaking malfunction would be one way. Another one would be like they called it like a rogue driver, like a being that's piloting the ship that's a little more careless and aren't really too concerned. This kind of thing would probably be like a rogue being who's not involved with a council, who's kind of out on their own, doing their own thing, not really caring whether or not they're following the rules of non-disclosure and not being seen and all of those things. So that could be, that's even more rare than a cloaking malfunction. It's very rare that that would happen. And most of the time, these sightings are intentional. So that means that you're meant to see what you see when you see it. And I think you feel that. I'm sure that you feel that a lot of the time, right? And a lot of the time, there is like a flash to get your attention of the ship. So to make sure that you see it, a lot of the times right before a sighting, what catches your eye is like a flash, right? And you're like, wait, what is that? Like something flashes. And that is, probably, they have lights, they have technology. There's different ways that that could probably happen, but it's to get your attention to make sure that you see what you're supposed to see. So go ahead and let me know in the comments below if you've had a ship sighting that was prefaced by a flash, because that happens so often. And I think that people will see in the comments that that's actually really common. That's happened to me quite a few times where I see a flash in the sky and then I look and then I'm like, oh, wait, that's something. Okay. So let's move on. So seeing a ship that is low to Earth, like in our atmosphere, okay, like within Earth, is a physical ship and is 4D energies. Okay, so fourth dimensional energies could be like grays, reptilians. Another physical ship in a fourth dimensional frequency would be what I channeled. Their name was Septarians, like Septarians, Septarians, almost like the French word for seven, but then Aryans. Okay, so Greys, Reptilians, Septarians are all the most common 4D physical ships. So Greys, I'm sure you know what they look like. I'm actually wearing the perfect dress today for this. They look like this. Sometimes they're green, but a lot of the times they're gray. There are tall ones, there are short ones, there are a lot of different styles of grays. We all know reptilians. There's different kinds of reptilians as well. They all can look different from one another too. And then the Septarians look like, so do you remember what ET's face looked like? How it kind of had like a, it was almost like this style of a shape, went this way, like wide horizontally, and it almost had like a little, kind of like a heart shape, like his big eyes were like rounded around like this. So that is a Septarian, but they're not little like ET, unless ET was supposed to represent one of their children, which I don't know. But what I saw for these beings was the same style of face and the same long neck and that really wrinkly skin, but they were very tall, like, and thick, like a trunk. And that was ET. He was thick like a trunk at the bottom, same kind of flat feet, and hands and fingers that were long and almost like elephant style skin or dinosaur style skin, long neck, and then that flat face with that like big face that looked like this, like big and wide like this. That's a Septarian. So what that means is these 4D beings are able to traverse into, they're in 4D, so they can go up into higher realms and they can come down into 3D. If you've ever wondered why so many physical abductions or sightings of aliens and ships are the Greys, and what about the Pleiadians? Why don't they come to Earth? Or what about this? Or what about that? It's because the Greys are of a frequency where they can be physical on Earth, because they're not that high above 3D. They're pretty in that neutral, non-emotional kind of space. So 4D frequency beings are able to still be physical on Earth, whereas most of the lovely starseed beings or angelic beings or ethereal beings in the higher realms that we have as spirit guides are in too high of a frequency to actually do a physical visit here on Earth. They can't come in here and be in that way. Okay, so to be physical on Earth, you'd have to be within a frequency that's not that far off. Okay. So, and that's why when Earth is in a golden era and we raise our frequency and say we're now in sixth, seventh dimension, we can have more visits, because you'll notice during like Lemuria or Atlantis or some of the golden era times, we have a lot more disclosure, we have a lot more visitations, even sometimes from something as high as like an Arcturian and Andromedan. They're able to come here because we rise, so they can meet us, kind of halfway. All right, so seeing a ship inside of Earth's atmosphere is a 4D energy, and it's if it's physical, right? And that would be one of these neutral-ish beings, gray, septarian, or a reptilian. Now, I know people are probably being like, reptilians aren't neutral. So true, but they are more of like a 4D because they're not in a 3D asleep state that we are in, like a lot of humans are in, and they're certainly not in the 5D love frequency. So they still fall in between 3 and 5. Okay, so let's talk about what their ships look like. So a lot of the time there are discs. We all know what like one of the discs ship look like. Do I have one on this dress? I do not. I do not. Like a silver disc, right? It looks like a frisbee and it's fairly flat, might have a little bubble where the people sit in the center, but a silver disc, that would be very common for one of these 4D style ships, or a triangular ship. And a triangular that's fairly elongated, so maybe flat here and then it goes on like this and it floats point first, okay? And these are usually silver, especially the discs, or they can be dark gray, or they can even be black when it comes to the triangles. So when you see that, those ships could be doing abductions. They could be having meetings in inner Earth with our governments, shadow governments. They could be doing observational stuff. They could be doing testing. So there's a lot of different things that they could be doing, but those are what the majority of their ships look like and who that would be and their frequency. There's one other one. This is rare. This is something I've seen personally, so I tuned into it to see what it was. I saw this ship once that was shaped like a birdhouse, and it was pretty small, like the size of a laptop. And it was silver, and it floated right by my window, and it was like a silver little birdhouse, like 3D little birdhouse. I asked what that was, and the alien beings are tiny, tiny little beings, and they are like a fey extraterrestrial blend, like tiny, like a sprite, like a little fey being, like fairy style being, but also mixed like alien DNA in there. So like a fey extraterrestrial in a tiny little birdhouse ship. And I got a name for the ones that, now this doesn't mean that there aren't other kinds, but I channeled a name for the species that I saw, because I fully saw this happen before, and they were called Loci. Loci? Losi. Yeah, Loci. I just asked again. Okay, so that's, if you've seen, and I'm sure there are tons of others, right? Like there are so many. Oh, again, sorry. This little birdhouse ship didn't feel like a 4D vibe. This felt more like going into 5D. It felt very loving. It felt very magical. It felt very fey, but still close enough to 3D that it could be physical for me to see it. And then at that point, a little bit about what you're able to see, hold on, I wrote this down, is about your ability to perceive. So you have to think about what is your set point frequency, right? Because if your set point frequency is very much in the 5th dimensional frequency of love, right? If you're a 5D person, what does that mean? It means that your set point, your neutral state, is actually one of love. So at your resting state, you're very loving and compassionate, forgiving and open person. You see others and you put yourself in their shoes and you're very empathic and all those things. You're not really stuck in the whole separate division, us versus them. That's 3D polarity, right? That division. So if you're more in like a 5D frequency, you're going to be able to see more, because you're going to be able to see some of the things in like the low C, like a 5D little ship. You're going to have more sightings than people in a 3D or a 4D. And you're going to have more of a variety. So let's talk about those, because we've covered a lot of the 4D stuff. So those would be seeing a ship that is in a 5D plus, up energy. So this would likely be, and not always, but I would say majority, this is going to be above Earth's atmosphere. So this is more like stargazing. This is more like up in the stars and in the sky, further away from Earth. Because remember, inside of Earth's atmosphere is more that 4D, and outside of that can be much higher. So this would be like Pleiadians. anything. Andromedans, Arcturians, Galactic Federation of Light. Maybe there's a Mantis ship. Like there's all kinds of potentials there. So the Pleiadians tend to have ships that are kind of like the oval disc shape, but not exactly, actually. Let me take that back. It's more of like an oval, right? Sorry, the discs are like perfectly round and fairly flat. And if you do more of like this shape with like a little cockpit here, and then it's got a little butt on it, like a mini cigar. A cigar style ship is different. This is like a little mini cigar style. So you've got like space for, they're fairly small ships, what the Pleiadians have. You know, they usually have a smaller crew. And it looks like an oval, like a 3D oval. Okay, so not as flat or as circular as a disc. That would be Pleiadian generally. These are all just generalizations. It has to be. The cigar shape that I talked about is more of the Arcturian ships. So almost like a blimp style with a lot of windows, like a bus, but rounded, right? Like a big blimp. That's more of the Arcturian. The Andromedans have like a really interesting shape. They almost look like a goldfish cracker, where it has like a round head on it, and then it kind of swoops out into a tail at the back. Have you ever seen anything like that? So it looks like, I mean, a goldfish cracker. That's really, it's got a little round section for where the people, like the cockpit, I guess, areas would be. And then it flares out into like a fish tail, almost like a little triangle at the back. And windows all along the side, kind of like the blimp. And then the last one would be, if it was a Galactic Federation of Light ship, they're the biggest ones. Like they're huge, 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 huge. They're ones that are like, when it's coming down, it's like the mothership. And when you're looking up underneath, it's the one with all the lights around, you know, like lots of circular lights around the circumference of it. And just a very large round, tons of windows, tons of lights. They're the biggest ones. Probably pretty rare to see that awake. However, you would probably be able to see this in your dreams. And we're going to talk about dreams in a second. Okay, so keep in mind that there are satellites. If you're stargazing at night, you're going to see a lot more satellites that you might think are ships. So satellites they move slower than a plane, but they move, so it's obviously not a star. They don't have a whole lot of light. They look like a dim star and super tiny, and they move in a straight line across the sky. They never speed up, they never slow down, and then they come back. And a lot of the time on their path, trajectory, there's more than one. So it'll be like a little, you'll see one, and then you'll see another, and they're all kind of going at the same speed in the same direction on the exact same line. That's more of a satellite. So just keep in mind that that can be tricky, right? Because you might think that you're seeing a ship, but you're actually seeing a satellite. They're tiny. So how would you know if it's a ship? In the night sky with the stars. One clue would be that it's winking in and out of existence. So it disappears and then it pops up somewhere else. And then it disappears and it pops up somewhere else, because that's how a lot of them travel. So winking in and out of placement in the sky, or winking in and out of existence, like disappear and then they pop in here and then they pop in here. That's definitely a ship. Or changing direction really quickly. A satellite is not going to do that. A star is not going to do that. Even like a meteor or a shooting star, it's just a stream in one direction. So if something is doing all of these shifts in direction, you can be certain that that is a ship. Also, if they take off, right? So if it's going one speed and then it goes faster, like a taking off, that would definitely be a ship. And then there's also a lot of the time lights that will be signaling to you. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of the time they do flash to try to get your attention. They can feel when they can know, they can, tune in to your awareness, and they will signal you with lights. So a light that's dim and then gets really, really bright and then goes out again, or a flashing light. Different colors maybe of lights. Maybe not when it's that far away you would be able to tell, but something to do with like trying to get your attention through the lights. And then sometimes you see them in a row, much closer than satellites, right? Where you would see like maybe like 5 in a row, and they're all going together, and then they might break formation and then they might come back together in a row. That's somebody on patrol. That's somebody that's on some kind of a patrol mission to go and find out something. And that's definitely like an alien or not an alien, but oh my goodness, a UFO encounter, unidentified flying object. That's definitely that. Okay. So, like we said before, disclosure is all about your ability to perceive. Your frequency matters a lot here with what you're going to see. Like I said, if your frequency is in a higher set point, if you're a 5D person already, you can still see the 4D ships, but now you're going to see 5 and 6 as well. And so on, maybe even a little higher. And it also has to do with your intention a lot of the time. Like, are you open to seeing it? Do you believe it's possible to see it? Do you actively try to communicate with galactic beings or spirit guides? That's all going to open you up to that experience as well. Okay. So basically, you need to ask yourself, like, what reality are you tapping into? Because what you believe you will perceive, right? Okay. And then one little thing about discernment, we are in an age of AI, and it can be really difficult to trust videos online, and it's much better to trust your own eyes. So try to have these experiences for yourself, because that's really special to be able to have an experience like this for yourself. Ask for it, like tune in to the Galactic Federation of Light, or if you have a Pleiadian guide or anything like that, tune in and be like, hey, I'd really love to talk to them. Like, I'd really love to have an experience where I see something, like, can you help me with this, or who can? And just keep asking and keep asking. And then also you need to look. There are so many people that don't stop long enough in their day to even look at the sky, right? So, um, during the day, go on joy walks, where you're walking really slowly and you're being really present and you're taking it all in and you're looking at the sky and you're speaking to your guides. That's optimum time for you to have a sighting. Or at night, actually go outside and look up at the stars and at the moon and take it all in and feel the grandness of the universe. Make opportunities, open doorways for you to have these experiences, or you never will. Because it's really difficult in this age of AI to know what to believe. And so, yes, it's fascinating to see videos online, but there is and will be increasingly more realistic fakes. And it's going to be really difficult for people to be able to discern what's what, especially if you don't have the ability to tune in with your intuition or your clairs and find out the truth. Okay. I mean, for example, like the Miami Mall aliens, like, sorry, no. There's a lot of things that you just know are not true. Or I just know. I just know it's not true. Okay. And then why did I have this written down? I have written down in my notes the word abductions, question mark, and then video. So I guess just to ask you guys, are you interested in a video about the different kinds of abductions? Because they're not all the same at all. There's so many different kinds that can happen. I certainly don't know everything. I never would claim to know everything about sightings or abductions, but I do know enough that I can bring something new to the table, I'm sure. So let me know if you would be interested in a video. Let me just know in the comments. Do you want a video about different kinds of abductions? Has that happened to you? Are you concerned about that? Are you concerned about positive versus negative, or what's going on, or who's doing the abducting, or why? Because we can do that too, because it kind of falls in line with this video, and I'd be happy to do that for you. And then the last thing, as I said, I was going to talk to you guys about dreams. If you're having dreams of lights, like spaceship lights, so I'll give you an example of a dream that I had. I had a dream that I was with a group of people that were burying crystals into Gaia. So we were going around, and I knew some people in the dream and others I didn't, and we had quite a few to do, and we were like digging down in certain specific areas of the ground and planting crystals like you would plant seeds, and then covering them back up with dirt. I mean, that was just some kind of grid work that I was doing like in my dream. So obviously I'm doing it in the astral or in another timeline. I mean, something was going on there. But then during that exact same dream, I was doing my work. We were all burying our crystals, and then the ship came back to pick us up. It had dropped us off to do the work, and then it was there to pick us up. So it felt very like real, very physical experience, almost like an abduction to go do a mission, which would be interesting, right? And I just wanted to say what I dreamt was I looked up as it was coming down, and what I saw was from underneath. And it was like, it just looked round and it had all of these lights, big circular lights all the way around the circumference of the ship. And I remember looking up at it and the lights were in my eyes and it just came down and got so close. And then I woke up and it was like, okay, if you're having dreams of spaceship lights, I just want you to know that you're having experiences. Like that's definitely either an abduction, you're having real disclosure, like you're having real experiences with extraterrestrial beings if you're dreaming shit like that. 1000%. Another one, if you're dreaming of being on a spaceship, couldn't even recount for you how many times I've dreamt that. I've dreamt that I was on a Pleiadian ship teaching a lesson to a room full of people, like I was the teacher. Um, even weirder, even weirder. I dreamt that, and then the next morning I woke up and remembered that dream. And then I looked and I had a message from somebody on Instagram saying, I had a dream last night that you were teaching me and a group of people on a spaceship. How weird. And I was like that really happened because I had the exact same dream. But I've also had dreams where I was the student and I was sitting in like a little desk on a spaceship learning about something. I've had dreams of being on like a really large, more like felt like a cruise ship. Like it was huge and there was a big stage and everybody was gathered in the audience. And this was definitely an abduction because I remember being naked and concerned about that. And I sleep nude. So sorry, TMI. And I remember somebody handing me a blanket and I like wrapped it around myself and then I was pushed out onto the stage. And when I was on stage, I was directed to sing a certain frequency, like as a note, and then a different one, and then a different one. And a lot of people were like, oh, and it meant something. And I used to be a singer. I used to be a professional singer and used to try to like write songs to help people with their spiritual awakening. So at that time in my life, I found out, after that dream that it wasn't just the lyrics that were awakening people. It was literally the frequency of the tone of the voice. And I think I was there to, I don't know exactly what happened in that dream, but that was fully an abduction. Because like, why would I be naked? You know that is. And I remember seeing a man on the ship backstage, like backstage of that big stage that I was pushed out onto. And, I remember seeing his face so clearly, and then I saw him online within the same week. This was like 10 years ago, maybe more. I saw him online as being like a professor or a scientist who talks a lot about abduction stories and his own. And I saw him, he was like very specific face with a gray beard and everything. And I remember his eyes and his glasses. I saw him in the dream. And then I saw him online and I was like, oh, I just dreamt about that guy. Who is he? And then I went into figuring all out. It was all connected. So freaking weird. Long story short, if you are dreaming about being on a spaceship in any capacity, you are having experiences. Like we don't just dream of that without it being like true to, to most extents, Okay. I think that's all I had to share with you. So a little bit of a guide on some spacecraft sightings for things that I personally have seen and experienced, and a couple of things that you might also have seen and experienced. Like what shapes have you seen? What colors were they? Did they flash in and out of existence? Did they move slowly? Do you feel like you were meant to see it, or was it like an accident that you saw it? Did it mean something to you? Yeah, and if you want to talk more about abductions and stories like that, then let me know and I can do a video all about that as well. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there because I don't want this to be too long. Thank you so much for joining me for another video on this channel. I know this one was a little bit out there, but don't we love it when that happens? I love doing it. And make sure that you are subscribed to this channel for new videos every week. And then don't forget to come follow me over on Instagram. The content over there is way different than here, and it's more frequent as well. So come on over, check out the stories. They're always interesting. Check out the grid. Come on over, be my IG family as well. And if you are interested in one of the last 2 spots remaining for Starseed Weaver of Light, the certified multidimensional healing course, check out the link in the description of this video to snag and claim one of those last seats. I love you all so much. Thank you again for sticking with me on this channel, for being here for another video. I appreciate you so much. And please remember, listen to your heart. and the quiet voice within. Because you are so much more than the body you are in. I love you, beautiful starseeds. Have a great day.